So, hello everyone, welcome back to our series of critical reasoning. So, in the last two lectures, we have talked about what critical reasoning is and what kind of questions our exam expects from us to do. Okay. Now, in today's lecture, we will start with first type of critical reasoning question, which are called assumptions. Now, please remember assumptions are basic foundations of critical reasoning. And if you do any kind of questions, assumptions are very important. Okay, so let's understand what assumptions really mean. Okay, now let's see. In critical reasoning, an assumption is an unstated piece of info. Now, this is very important. When I say something is unstated piece of info, what do I mean by unstated piece of info? Unstated piece of information means that particular information will not be presented in the paragraph. In the paragraph means, for example, let me say this is a question and this is the paragraph. Now, author will never mention the assumption directly in this. So, in critical reasoning, your assumption is unstated piece of information. It means that author will never mention directly assumptions into the paragraph. Okay, that must be true for the logic of argument to work. Now, when I'm saying assumption, it must follow conclusion, because in the initial lecture we have talked about that there are I can write the framework into an equation. How? I can write it like this. We have a premise, then we have a conclusion, and in between I have your assumption. And you can assume assumptions to be an you can assume assumption as an unstated glue which connects your premise to the conclusion. So first of all, for your argument to work, assumption should always follow the conclusion. It means assumption should always support your conclusion, because if your assumptions become invalid, your argument structure will completely fall. So what is means so we can remember assumption as assumption is an unstated piece of information that must be true for the logic of argument. That must be true for the logic of argument to work. All right. In other words, in an assumption on which argument rests is found to be false, that argument will fall apart. And that is what we have talked. That assumption should follow conclusion. If assumption and conclusion are not in the same line, then argument structure will fall apart. And assumption, you can assume it as, you can remember it as assumption is an unstated glue which connects your premise to conclusion. Okay. Now, let's try to understand this idea by a simple example. Okay. Now, here is an example. Dogs like to bark, therefore Fido must like to bark. Now, think about it. Author have an information. Dogs like to bark. Now, this is a fact. Author have presented a fact that dogs like to bark. And from this particular fact, author have concluded, therefore, this is the conclusion marker. Author have concluded, therefore, Fido must like to bark. So, this particular portion is your conclusion. Now, think about it. Is there an unstated idea which connects both the idea that when you are saying dogs like to bark, therefore, conclusion means therefore, author concludes that Fido must like to bark. Is author assuming that Fido is a dog? Because if Fido is not a dog, how can you say on the fact or on the basis of fact that Fido also likes to bark? Because dogs likes to bark. It means author is assuming something. Author is assuming idea that Fido must be a dog. Now think about it. If this assumption, or and if I say, if this is not an assumption, will this argument structure be valid? If I say Fido is not a dog, will the argument structure that dogs like to bark, therefore I'm concluding Fido must like to bark? Will it be possible? No, not at all. So, to follow this pattern, Fido must be a dog. Otherwise, things won't work. So, notice that we have one premise. Premise means we have a fact. Okay, premise can assumed to be as an evidence or fact. Now, fact is dogs like to bark. This is fact, which we have to assume to be true. Next, given that premise, the author concludes the following. Yes, author have concluded an idea. What is the idea? Fido must like to bark. This is the conclusion. Now, in between, author have assumptions, which we have talked that Fido must be a dog. Now, in making the argument, the author has made an important assumption. Do you see it? Ask yourself what must be true for the argument to be so. Now, whenever you want to focus on assumption, ask yourself some question. That, all right, author have presented a fact. I have a fact. I have a conclusion. Is there something in between which must be true for your pattern to work? Do I need to know something which is really crucial? I need to ask these questions these questions to myself. If you ask these questions, you get a better understanding what really assumption is. So in between we have an assumption. Fido must be a dog. Now think about it. There is a difference between assumption and mandatory assumption. Assumptions can be many assumptions. We can have infinite number of assumptions. I can have n number of assumptions. But in this particular means when I'm talking about critical reasoning, in this particular scenario, when you are talking about particularly assumption question, author do not focuses on infinite number of assumptions. Author focuses on mandatory assumptions. What can be assumptions? Author do not focus on that idea. Author focus on the idea that what are the mandatory assumptions. So you need to look at that. Okay. So this was one easy example we got to it. Now let's move ahead and get more ideas. Okay, now we have one more question. Let's read it. All people in the house in which communicable disease are present should be quarantined. Now, this is a fact, or I can say this is a premise which author have mentioned, that all the people in the house in which communicable disease are present should be quarantined. All right. Two people in the yellow house on Maple Street came down with the disease X yesterday. Now, this is another fact. Fact number two. And on the basis of these two facts, that author have concluded, because he have used the word therefore, and we have talked that therefore is a conclusion mark. So therefore, all the people in the yellow house on the Maple Street should be quarantined. This is the conclusion. Now think about it. On the basis of two facts, you are concluding something. It means you need to have a mandatory assumption. What it could be? Let's see. When I say all people in the house in which communicable disease are present should be quarantined. Now there is no exception because I am saying all the people. I have not left an exception. It means all the people in house which communicable disease are present should be quarantined. No exception should be there. If we are seeing an communicable disease, all the people should be quarantined. First idea. Second, now two people in the yellow house on Maple Street came down with the disease X. Okay. Now you are saying two people came down with the disease X. All right. Now you have concluded that all the people in the yellow house on Maple Street should be quarantined. It means you have left no exception. And when was the possibility that you were not leaving an exception? Because you said that you are not leaving an exception in the condition when the disease comes out to be a communicable. Because you have said that if there is a disease which is communicable, all the people should be quarantined. Next, you said that two people in the yellow house on the Maple Street came down with disease X yesterday. And on the basis of these two ideas, I have concluded that all the people, again, no exception is there, in the yellow house on the Maple Street should be quarantined. On what circumstances? It means you are assuming this idea that disease X is a communicable disease because you were not leaving an exception when diseases were communicable diseases. Now think it in logically. If I say, now let's try to understand in a better way. If I say that disease X, your disease, let me write it properly. If I say disease X is not a communicable, if I say disease X is not a communicable disease, would this condition to be true? If I say disease X is not a communicable disease, can you say that all the people in the yellow house in the Maple Street should be quarantined? No, you cannot say. On what basis you have told that all the people should be quarantined? Because there is a fact. Fact was, if the disease is communicable disease, please quarantine all the people. Now you have found that disease X is a communicable disease, then only you are concluding the idea that all the people in this yellow house should be quarantined. Because we have only two cases. We have only two people in the yellow house who came down with the disease X. And just on the basis of those two people, how did you conclude it that please quarantine all the people? Because you know the fact that if we have a communicable disease, we do not have an exception. We have to quarantine each and every individual. So on the basis of that particular idea, I can assume this idea. And this idea has to be true for my conclusion to work. It means that this is the mandatory assumption. This is not just an assumption. This is mandatory assumption. And I have told you what is mandatory assumption. Mandatory assumption means that unstated piece of information that must be true for the logic of argument to work. If your assumptions does not work, your argument structure falls. It means that if I negate my assumption, like in this example, if I negate means convert positive to negative, or if positive is there, if negative is there, convert it to positive. So if I negated this choice, it raised the question that how did you conclude it? Because on the basis of these facts, I have to assume this idea to be true. Otherwise, information might be faulty. We can see some fallacy. But here I know this has to be assumption for your argument structure to work. So is it clear? Okay, let's move ahead. Now, we have a question and we have to apply the same concepts which we have talked about. First was your assumption is an unstated piece of information. It means author will never write your assumption directly. Not at all. If it is written here, then how can I say it is an assumption? Assumptions are never written just clearly. All right, let's see. Now we have a question, and what the question stem tells us, question stems means this particular part which asks me that what author wants to know. Like here, question stem tells me that which of the following is an assumption upon which the support for the above conclusion depends. It means I need to tell the assumption. Okay, let's see the question. The noodle house, which serves only noodle and has won the award for the best noodle in our state 5 years in the row, is opening a store in the town of Redland Snacks. Okay. Now, there are some key points which we need to know. First, whenever they say that this has won, means here the noodle house has won the award for the best noodle in our state in 5 years in a row, I cannot counter this. If they say they have won 5 years in continuously, you have to believe that they have. You cannot counter this idea. So first, I know This is the noodle house. Okay, and it has won the award for best noodle in our states 5 years in the row. Okay, 5 years in the row. Now, and is opening a store in the town of Redlands next month. Okay, they are opening a new store. Now what? The mayor of Redlands love eating award-winning food. We know that this noodle house has won means 5 times. This noodle house has won particularly 5 times in the row. Now, the mayor of the Redland, he also loves eating award-winning food. And on the basis of these two facts, author have concluded because therefore is given to me and therefore is conclusion mark. Therefore, that mayor will love Redland, mayors of Redland will love eating at the noodle house. It means that we have two facts and one conclusion. This is what it is. First fact that noodle house which serves only noodles. It means they are limited. They have limited type of food. They only serves noodle and they have won awards for the best noodles in our state 5 times in the row. It means the noodle house serves award-winning food because they have won the award. Second, now they are opening a chain in Redlands, and the mayor of Redland loves eating award-winning food. It means that on the same basis of idea, author have concluded that the mayor will love eating at noodle house. Okay. Now, what do I know? This, the noodle house. You know this noodle house. Okay, they serve noodle and they are award winning. They serve food. Okay, they serve food. In food, they serve noodles and they are award winning. They serve award winning food. I can write it like this. This noodle house serves award winning food. Here, food represent noodles. Okay. Next, there is second idea. Now, the mayor loves eating award winning food. Now we are talking about mayor. He loves eating award winning food. Loves eating. I'm writing award winning food as AW. So the mayor loves eating award winning food. And on the basis of these two facts, what author have concluded? Author have concluded that the mayor will love eating at the noodle house. It means he will love eating at the noodle house. And I know here food represents noodles because they have said that this noodle house which serves only noodles. All right, now let's look for the assumption. Which of the following is an assumption upon which the arguments, of course, about conclusion depends? All right, the mayor of the Redland does not eat any meals at the home. Now think about it. This says that mayor do not eat any meals at home. Okay, he does not eat at many any meals at the home. But does this give me a reason to believe that he will love eating food at noodle house? No, not at all. It might be possible if I negate this idea, the mayor of Redland does not eat in place. I would say the mayor of Redland does eat any meals at home. So then also it does not negate my conclusion. Then it is true. It does not need to be an assumption. Mayor eat food at home or mayor do not eat meals at home. It won't give me a reason to believe that he will love eating noodles at the noodle house. No. So this is just clear, easy choice. We can eliminate it. The town of Redland has a small number of noodle restaurants. So what? So what? For this option, so what? What does it happens if the town has small number of noodle restaurants. Does it mean that because there are less number of noodle means there are less number of noodle restaurants, the mayor will love eating noodles at those noodle houses? No, we are not talking about numbers of restaurants first of all. And rather than, I would say that if it this option would be like this, that the town of Redland has a large number of noodle restaurants, then also it is not mandatory that he will love eating at noodle. So it does not also give me a reason to believe. Ask yourself question. So what does it happens if I say that the town of Redland has small number of noodles restaurants? So what happens? Nothing happens. So I can eliminate B as well. Only award-winning restaurants open in the town of Redland. Now think about it. This option says that only award-winning restaurants open in the town of Redland. Okay. Now you have limited the number of options. You are saying that we have only limited number of restaurants. And author love means your mayor loves eating award-winning food. But only the restaurants which are opening in the town of Redland, they are serving me an award-winning food. Does it give me a reason to believe that then mayor will love the food at eating noodle house? No, not at all. It might be possible that only award-winning restaurants open in the town of Redlands, but mayor might love or might not love. It does not give me a reason to believe that. Simple. So this also option choice can be eliminated. Now, they have introduced the factor of cost. Nowhere cost was mentioned, but let's read it, because in the earlier lecture I have told you, you cannot just eliminate the choice before reading. And it does not matter any extra variable is given to you or information was not present, but we have to read it. Sometimes those absurd choices which seems to be absurd in the initial state might be the correct answer. It depends on the condition. So let's read. It costs less to dine at a noodle house than any other restaurant. No, there is not the matter of cost that because this restaurant, the noodle house, charges the less amount than the mayor loves. No, mayor loves eating food at noodle house. It means that mayor loves eating food at award-winning restaurants. And author have concluded on this idea that he will love eating food at noodle house as well. So factor of cost is not at all implemented. So I can eliminate this idea of cost easily. The variable of cost is nowhere mentioned, and it does not has to be the mandatory idea as well. Next, the mayor of Redland is not allergic to nuts. Now this is a nice choice, because if it says the mayor is not allergic to nuts, now think about it. If I say the mayor of Redland is, in place of not, I remove this not, and I say the mayor of Redland is allergic to noodles. Okay, if I have written it like this, then ask yourself a question. If mayor is allergic to noodles, can mayor or will mayor love eating food at the noodle house? No, because because the noodle house only serves me the noodles. It means that at least it must be the case that mayor is not allergic to the noodles. If mayor is allergic to the noodles, mayor won't be able to eat the noodles. It means that if I negated this choice, what did I do? I negated this choice. It counters my conclusion. And I have told you that your assumption and conclusion has to be in the single line of thought. And if you contradict your assumption or negate your assumption, if it counters your conclusion, it means it is the mandatory idea. It means that this option choice has to be true. Because if the mayor of Redland is not allergic to noodles, then only he will love eating the food at the noodle house. Because it is said that this noodle house which serves only noodles, and if mayor is allergic to the noodles, will he love eating food there? No, not at all. So you can ask yourself these kind of questions. It means that this idea has to be mandatory assumption. So you can see that you can also use the technique of negation. Just negate the option choice. You will get an idea that how assumption and conclusions are correlated to each other. Okay. Now, so what was the question? We were given some facts. Facts were that, let me make it clear for you. So we were given two facts. The fact number one, noodle house which serves only noodles and has won award for the best noodle in our state 5 years in a row is opening store in the town of Italy. It means this noodle house is award winning food and they serves only noodles. Fact number one. Second, the mayor of Redland, where they are opening their new restaurant, he also loves award winning food. On this basis of these two facts, author have concluded therefore the mayor will love eating at the noodle house. He will love eating at the noodle house. Now think about it. If mayor is allergic to those noodles, will mayor love eating food at the noodle house? No, not at all. It means that this is the mandatory idea. This has to be the mandatory assumption that mayor of the Redland is not allergic to the noodles. Then only I can say that yes, mayor will love eating noodles at the noodle house. Simple. On the other hand, other choices. Option A, mayor of the Redland does not eat at homes at the meals at the home, does not eat any meals at the home, is not correlated. This town have only small number of restaurants, no sense. Only award winning, you have limited the number of restaurants, so what? It cost, you have included another factor which is not mentioned above and which does not impact my conclusion. So we have only one choice, which was answer option number E is your correct answer. All right. Okay. Now we have one more question. Now try to solve this question by the same way which I have done in the means in the last question. First, focus on the conclusion. What is the conclusion? Identify your conclusion. Second, look for the facts. Okay, which are the portions which tells means which of the portion states that this is a fact. Then only if you differentiate facts and conclusion, then only you will be able to easily move to the assumption. Then you can easily differentiate means the important information given. Okay. Now, Mo Green, a company that uses sustainable method to maintain lawns, has been expanding quickly. Okay. Now, this is the company, Mo Green, a company. What kind of methods it use? It use sustainable. Okay. Has been expanding quickly and its services are now available in many areas of the country. All right, this is one idea. They use sustainable methods and its services are available in the many areas of the country. Okay. However, given the state of economy in the Drawn Valley area, okay, Mo Green would not be able to operate profitably there. Okay. Now, author have said that given the state of economy, means present economic conditions are not in the favor of the company. So, given the state of economy, in this Drawn Valley area, the Mo Green would not be able to operate profitably there. Company would not be able to operate profitably. This is the different idea. First idea that company uses sustainable methods, okay, and is available in many areas. Second idea, the state of economy in the Drawn Valley area is not in the favor of this Mo Green company, so it won't be able to operate profitably there. And on the basis of these two ideas, I have concluded, therefore, I have concluded that one can, okay, it's here. So I have concluded that one can be sure that Mo Green will not expand its operation in the Drawn Valley area anytime. Now think about it. You are concluding that this Mo Green will not expand its operation. Okay, it won't expand its operation. We have concluded this idea, but keep the facts in the mind. Fact number one: the methods used by this company, Mo Green, use sustainable methods. This is fact number one, and it is now available in many areas. So I know the practice, how they practice. They use sustainable methods. Second, I can say that the means this Mo Green is not going to expand in Dronville area. On what basis I have said that? Because we know that they won't be able to operate profitably there. It means that they are assuming the factor of profitability, that whenever I have to expend, sorry, whenever the company have to expend, they are assuming a factor. They are assuming a factor of profitability. Okay, sorry. Yes, it was right. So they were assuming a factor of profitability. So whenever the company has to expand, they are assuming a factor of profit. So think about it. Now I have concluded on the basis of these ideas. This was one idea, it was the fact. Another was they use sustainable methods, and they are already expanding in many areas, but not in the Dronville area. Okay. Now let's see. Now this is the conclusion, that they are not going to expand. You cannot counter this idea. Okay. Now let's see. Which of the following is an assumption logically necessary to come to the conclusion of the above argument? So we need to focus on mandatory assumption. First, Mo Green's management team consider profitability. Okay, they consider profitability in determining whether to expand in. Think about it. This choice says that they consider profitability in determining whether to expand into an area. Okay, let me write it. Mo Green management team, in place of consider, do not consider. If I like write it like this, that this management team do not consider profitability in whether to expand in an area, will they be able to come, means they will be able be to conclude the idea that the one can be sure that Mo Green is not going to expand operations in Tronville area, because you have, means the company Mo Green has to expand. It depends on the factor of profit. If you feel that you will be profitable, the company will expand according to the given scenario. If they don't feel that they are going to be profitable, they just take a step back. It means that this could be true. This could be an assumption that this management team consider profitable in determining whether to expand or not. Okay, let's keep it. Let's check the other option. Then I will verify. People in the area around the Dronville area are not interested in using sustainable methods for maintaining their law. Am I talking about choices of people, or whether company will expand? Anywhere it tells me that choice of people will define whether the company will expand or not. No, not at all. It is the factor which company defines that they have to expand it or not that the people in the area are not interested in using sustainable methods to maintain. It's not about that idea. You are talking about different idea, because you are trying to counter this fact. Mo Green is a company that use sustainable methods. Now you are trying to counter this fact that those people are not interested in sustainable methods. They are not interested in sustainable, but whether to expand or not, it depends that on the factor, according to the passage, that the company considers profitability as a factor which defines whether they will expand or not. So B does not make sense. They remains in the country areas where more grain is not currently operating, into which it could profitably expand its operation. What company could do in future? You are telling me this idea means they remains in country where they more grain is not currently operating, into which it could profitably expand its operation. It could. All right. You can expand. But ladies and gentlemen, think about it. You can expand, but the fact is company is not going to expand. I need to look at the mandatory thought that why company are not going to expand. You need not to tell me that what you can do. I have in the scenario is you cannot do, means company are not going to do this. Why they are not going to do this? You need to look a mandatory relation between those two ideas. Here you are telling me what company can do, because they remains in the country area where more grain is not currently operating. All right, they are not currently operating because they considers what profitability to an crucial factor, and we know state of economy in this Dromville area are not into the favor. So whether or not there remains the area in country which more green is currently not operating, it does not make sense. In which they could profitably expand its operation, all right. But what about this idea? What they can do? I'm not talking about this idea. What they have done, I need to look for the mandatory idea of that. This does not make sense. More green operates profitably in all the areas where it currently operates. All right. It says that means your the company operates profitably in all the areas where it currently operates, but you are profitable in all the areas where you are currently operating. Does this idea will define that in future you will, whatever the location you choose, that you have to be, means your current status will define the choosing of location according to the scenario? Currently you have three places A, B, C. You are profitable in all the places A, B, C. Now you are going to expand in place D. Will this factor of profitability that you are profitable in this place A, B, and C, that they will define profitability of factor D? No, means of the place D. Not at all, because according to the given scenario, they consider that what are the economic conditions and will the company there able to expand profitably. It means they consider profitability as a crucial idea. So your current state, that whether you are profitable or not, won't define the idea, or means choosing the location you have to operate. It won't define. It means that this don't make any sense. Your current status won't define this idea. Sustainable methods for maintaining lawns are generally more expensive to use than are less environmental friendly methods. A different element, less environmental friendly methods. Again, I'm not making a comparison. That's sustainable methods for maintaining are more expensive than less environmental friendly methods. It means sustainable are more costly than environmental friendly methods. It's not the assumption, is not the idea of the cost comparison between two kind of methods. First method, sustainable method, and another is environmentally friendly methods. It's not the relation of cost comparison. We need to look at the crucial aspect, the idea, which states that all right, they are not going to expand in this area of Dronville because they won't be able to operate profitably there. It means that author is assuming this factor profitability as an important aspect. You're assuming this particular factor whenever you have to make a decision, because if you won't think about profitably whether to expand or not, I won't be able to conclude this idea. It means that more greens management team consider profitability in determining whether to expand into an area. They are thinking about, means they consider, not thinking, basically they considers profitability whether to expand or not. They always think about it. Means first, if I have to expand, means company have to expand, then they will consider about the factor of profitability. If they will be profitable in that particular area, then they will think of expanding it. Otherwise, they won't. It means state of economy and profitability it will define. It means that this has to be a mandatory idea, and mandatory idea means necessary assumption. So I need to find an assumption logically necessary. So yes, this has to be true. What was the state of question? It was simple question. You were given a scenario of the company which use sustainable methods, okay, and its services are available in many areas of the country. This is fact number one. First of all, I have identified this has to be fact number one, or I can say premise. Next, second, you have the another fact. Given the state of economy in the Drownville area, Mo Green would not be able to operate profitably there. This is fact number two. And on the basis of these two facts, I have concluded that therefore, one can be sure that the Smoke Green will not expand its operation into Drownville anytime soon. They are not going to do this. Why? They are not going to do this because they consider this factor of profitability as means they consider this factor to determine whether they have to expand it. So we need to understand the logical aspect of the question, that what are the premises, what are the conclusions, which of the following is background information, how the assumption is connected between premise and your conclusion. So we need to look at the thought. Now think about it. If I negated this choice, Mo Green management team do not consider profitability in determining whether to expand in an area, then how did you say that they will not expand into their operations anytime soon? Because it is said that they won't be able to operate profitably, and they won't be able to operate profitably there. Then it means that you are making a decision on the basis of this particular factor, profitably, that this profitability is being considered whether to expand or not. So I need to look for the argument structure. Is that clear? Okay, let's move ahead. Next. Okay, we have one more question. Let's see the question. So it states that side-by-side test of fruits and vegetables grown using conventional and organic methods have found no significant difference between between the levels of key nutrients in conventionally grown produce and the level of those nutrients in organically grown produce. Okay, on the basis of this idea, author have concluded that there is no reason to believe that there is any health benefit to be derived from eating organically grown produce rather than conventionally grown. What is the argument structure? Ask yourself. It is said that side by side test of fruits and vegetables using grown means vegetables grown using conventional, means you are using two methods, conventional and organic methods. Means I am comparing two, conventional methods and organic methods, and we have found no significant difference. Basically, we have found no difference. That we have found no significant difference between the level of key nutrients in the level of key nutrients in conventionally grown produce and the level of nutrients in organically grown produce. It means nutrients in conventional and nutrients in organically grown produce fruits and vegetables, they are almost identical, they are almost same, because we have not seen significant differences. There are no major differences, significant differences are not there. So on the basis of these comparative ideas, author have concluded that thus there is no reason to believe that there is any health benefit. Now you are stating that if it do not have any, means we do not have any key difference in the nutrients, then we can conclude that they won't have any health benefits to be derived Means there is no reason to believe that there is any health benefit to be derived from eating organically produced rather than conventional. Simple. Argument structure is simple. We have we have two practices for growing fruits and vegetables. One is conventional, another is organic. What is happening? We have seen that there is no significant difference between the means in the key nutrients, whether you use conventional method or whether you use organic method. And on the basis of these ideas, I have concluded we won't have any health benefit. Means any health benefit, no health benefit. You won't have any health benefit to be derived from eating organically grown rather than conventional grown foods. Organic won't organically grown fruits and vegetables is not going to help you a lot in keeping in looking for health benefits. This is what it is. Now let's try to look at the mandatory assumption. Whatever choice which after negation contradicts this idea should be my answer. This is what the argument structure is, and we can see in the logical manner as well. Fruits and vegetables that are grown using organic methods do not taste different from those grown using conventional. Now, will the taste of food define means the factors like taste, cost, size, shape? Do they really define that the fruit is healthy or not? Think about it. Means is it the necessary assumption that fruit and vegetables that are grown using organic method do not taste different? All right, I say they taste different. If I say they do taste different, does this counter my idea that we won't have any health benefits? No, then also we won't have any health benefits. It means that it is not the mandatory assumption. This is a clear absurd choice. I can eliminate it. Next, option number B. Plants take in nutrients from the soil as a necessary aspect for the growth process. Okay, so what? You are telling me that plants take nutrients from the soil as the necessary aspect for the growth process. But how does this plants take the nutrients from the soil? It tells me that organically grown is not healthy or won't have any health benefits compared to conventionally grown food produce. It does not tell me. It does not give me a reason to believe that there won't be any health benefit. It means, first of all, your assumption should be a supportive statement. We will fight that it is the mandatory condition or not. It should be the secondary target, but it should be at least supportive statement, because we know your assumption and conclusion, they have a positive relation between them. It means at least assumption should support your conclusion, but this idea, it do not have any impact. So I can eliminate this choice. Okay, option number C. First, we will compare the choices, but this choice does not relate to any extent. Conventionally grown produce do not contain significant level of health harming chemicals that organically grown produce do not. Okay, think about it. Conventionally grown produce do not contain significant level of health harming chemicals that organically grown produce do not contain. On the other hand, if it contains these significant level, conventionally grown produce contains significant level of health harming chemicals, can I say both of them means they do not have any health benefits? That there is no reason to believe that there is any health benefit to be derived from eating organically rather than, if they have these, what these where was it, these significant level of health harming chemicals, then I won't be able to conclude that idea. It means after negation it countered that idea. It means it has to be true that these conventional produce do not contain significant level of health harming chemicals that organically produced do not contain. It means that they do not contain any kind of health harming chemicals. Then only it could be true that their health benefits are almost equal. If one of them contains health harming chemicals, can I say that they won't, means can I say that they will have no health benefits? Then you would say, if one have health harming, means one have chemicals, health harming chemicals, then automatically the another will have better health benefits. It means that this idea has to be right, because after negation I can see that it directly counters your claim. Because if you have health harming chemicals, automatically what will happen? After happening of these health harming chemicals, you will see that there is a change in the other, because I am assuming both are equal. First, they do not have, means we do not have a major difference in key nutrients. No significant difference between levels of key nutrients. Second, on the basis of this idea, I have concluded that there is any health benefit to be derived. There is, I can say that there is no reason to believe that there is any health benefits to be derived from natural rather than conventional. But think about it. If one contains significant level of health harming chemicals, can I say that there is no health harm, means there is no health benefit? No, no, I cannot say. There has to be then health benefit. It means that both the conventional grown and the organic, they do not contain chemicals which are health harming. So this idea has to be true. This has to be the assumption. Let's see the other choices, then we will compare. But C can work. Okay. The difference between the price of most organically grown produce and those of, again, the aspect of price. Here it was the taste, again we have included the price. Difference between the price of most organically grown produce than those of conventionally are not justified. It does not relate. The price differences are not justified. All right, they are not justified, but does it tell me that they do not have any health benefit? No, it do not tell me anything about the health benefit. Next, the methods used in farming organically grown produce tend to be more labor intensive than those used in conventional. But labor intensive does not gives me the idea that they do not have any health benefits, or they do have healthy health benefits, because you are using more labor. More labor. It is more labor intensive. But labor intensive does not gives me a reason to believe. Does not gives me a reason. It does not give me a reason. What reason? That any health benefits, we do not have any health benefit to be derived from either, or you use organically or the conventional grown produce. No, it does not give me a reason to believe. Something is more labor intensive does not mean that that is more nutritious for you. It does not necessarily mean that idea. Assumption, it has to be the mandatory condition. It doesn't work on possibilities. It works on the mandatory thought, mandatory idea. So from the given choices, we only have one choice which defines me and which supports the conclusion. Other choices are either talking about the aspect of taste, either about the price, or it tells me one is more labor intensive, or you are using facts like plants take nutrients from the soils which are necessary aspect for their growth process. All right, they take soils, they take the nutrients from the soils. But how does this define that? How does then define the aspect of health benefit, that there are no significant difference in the health benefit? It means that this idea C has to be true. Conventionally grown produce do not contain significant level of health harming chemicals. Because they have significant level of health harming chemicals, then we can see a difference between this health benefit idea, the idea of health benefit. Automatically we will see a difference between this idea. It means it has to be true. Is it clear? All right. Next, let's try to look at it. So, what does this question say? Now we have solved some questions till now. Okay, now how do we identify the assumption? So they have made a strategy. What is the strategy? It is the common sense first. Strategy means, first of all, you have to read what is given. For example, here you have to understand this idea. Until or unless you don't understand what this really means, no strategy is going to work. First, and the central strategy, if I say, please try to understand the given information. If you don't get the idea what is given in the paragraph, you won't be able to compare these options. Because you have seen, none of the option choices, I am not selecting any of the option choices from the given paragraph. No, I have to first understand. Note down how many participants are there, what are the variables, what are the factors, how they are connected to each other. I need to look at all the aspects. Then only I can focus on the idea, how it is further initiated. Now, strategy. Carefully read and understand the passage. This is you have to do. This is something which you have to do each and every time. Until or unless you have not read the careful, means you have not read it carefully, what you will do? You will miss the crucial part. You will miss the crucial part, or I can say important details. And in these critical reasoning questions, crucial part are the minor details. Sometimes we know the larger picture, but we miss the important details, which are crucial details in the larger picture. So we need to understand that picture completely. So carefully read and understand the passage. This is the first. Second, read the question stem and identify what the question is asking to you to do. Question stem means like here, this. Which of the following is an assumption? This is a question stem. It tells me that what I have to do. Because if I know I need to find an assumption, I need to find strength, I need to strengthen the argument, I have to weaken the argument. I will mentally prepare myself according to the situation. So, understand the paragraph, read what question is asking you to do so that you can mentally prepare yourself. Next, go back to the passage and determine exactly what the conclusion of the argument is. And this is what we have done. I have marked conclusion first, like in this question. Similarly, in this question also, I have exactly marked the conclusion, so that, or you can say that, identify or differentiate between conclusion and fact, so that you can easily target what you need to look for. Read carefully and understand the passage, then look for the question stem, and then focus what the passage exactly wants to determine. Okay. Now, identify how conclusion is supported, because your assumption and conclusion, they follow the same line of thought. It means your assumption will support the conclusion. It does not mean that every supporting idea is assumption. There is a difference. Every supporting idea for the conclusion is not an assumption, but every assumption will support the conclusion. So sometimes you can differentiate it also by looking for the ideas which supports the conclusion, but assumption will always support the conclusion. Remove the choices that are rather obvious, not an assumption integral to the argument. Like in the earlier question, the idea of cost, shape, taste, they are irrelevant choices. So remove the obvious choices. And in the end, you have done everything, choose the correct answer and move accordingly. Now, it seems easy. Means that you can see that, okay, it is very simple to do. I will just read the argument structure. Okay. Then I will look for the question stem. All right. Then I will identify by conclusion. All right. Then I will remove the choice. And accordingly, I will choose the answer. But you have to be completely focused, because critical reasoning tests your vision, how broad minded you are, how much patiently you can handle the situation. It checks your decision making abilities. So you have to differentiate. First of all, be clear this is not same as reading comprehension. Means so that you just read, you are trying to figure out and match the choices. This is not the game, means word match. You need to easily identify the situation. Means first you need to easily identify or make the difference between facts and conclusion. Then you can work accordingly. Okay, all right. So this is what we have to do, and this is what we were doing in the earlier questions as well. And as we move ahead, you will get a better understanding that how to target assumptions. How do I need to focus on conclusions? How to target, or how, means what are the aspects I need to completely rely on? We will talk about it in more detail. Okay. Now we have one more question. So let's see. So before looking to the solution, just try the question first by yourself. Okay. So that you get a better understanding. What is it? Until recently, Kiona was formed via traditional methods that are relatively benign in terms of their effect on environment. Okay. Thus, Kiona was formed, okay, and formed via traditional methods, okay, and their impact on the environment was not so benign in the terms of effect on environment. However, as Kiona, which contains a nutrient in high concentration, has become increasingly popular. All right. Now, this nutrient has become increasingly popular. In order to produce quinoa in greater quantities, these quinoa farmers have been shifting to use commercial farming methods that have significant negative effects on them. It means earlier you do not impact the environments, or the way you were doing the farming, it does not have a lot of impact on the environment. But now, as you have started using commercial farming methods, because earlier you were using traditional methods, they do not impact the environment a lot. But using this commercial farming method, they have significant negative impacts on environment. And these impacts are significant. All right. So, on the basis of these ideas, author have concluded. Now, this is the conclusion. Therefore, what have author concluded? People concerned about the environment should curtail their quinoa consumption and eat other food instead. What should people do? People should, means the person who is concerned about the environment, those should curtail their quinoa consumption. They should reduce their quinoa consumption and eat other foods instead. All right. It means the author is saying that people who are concerned about the environment, what should they do? You should reduce your quinoa consumption, curtail the needs of your quinoa consumption, and eat other foods instead. Okay. Now, why were you eating quinoa? Because it contains a key nutrient. Okay. And that is high in concentration. That nutrient was high in concentration. All right. And what are the facts? Now, let's differentiate first fact. First fact, quinoa was formed by traditional methods and they are relatively benign in the terms of effect on environment. This is first fact. Next, however, as quinoa, which contain nutrients in high concentration, has become increasingly popular. This is the another fact. In order to produce greater quantities of quinoa, farmers are using commercial farming method. All right, which has negative effects. So we have two ideas. First, quinoa is found by traditional methods and it do not have significant impact on the environment. Okay, benign in their terms of effect on the environment. But as you have shifted to commercial farming, because it is said that it has become increasingly popular. When it becomes increasingly popular, farmers want to grow more quinoa. So rather than using traditional, they have shifted from traditional to commercial farming. And by using this commercial farming method, it has significant negative impacts on environment. On the basis of these facts, author have concluded that people concerned about the environment should curtail their quinoa consumption, should reduce their consumption of quinoa and eat other food instead. Simple. Now, which of the following is an assumption on which logic of the argument relies? Okay, let's look at the idea. Option first. It would be possible for the farmers to meet current demand by using traditional farming methods on farms that utilize large land area. Think about it. Am I talking about that I will be able to meet the current demand? Is it the idea? Or the people concerned about the environment should curtail their quinoa consumption? On the other hand, if I say it would be possible, if I would write it, it won't be possible for the farmers to meet current demand by using traditional farming methods. If it is not possible to means fulfill the current demand, then also using these means using okay, we are talking about traditional. If it is not possible for quinoa farmers to meet current demand by traditional farming methods on the farm that utilize large land, then also these commercial farming methods are going to harm the environment. So it does not look at the logic. It does not follow the logic. Point is, I need to look at the argument structure. What is the choice which states me that, okay, this has to work like here? People are concerned about environment. People concerned about the environment. What should they do? They should reduce their quinoa consumption, curtail the needs. Okay. There are other foods that contain nutrients that quinoa contains in the exact same concentration. All right. Look at this choice. These food means we have different foods, another foods that contain nutrients, and they have these means these nutrients that contains that quinoa contains in the exact same concentration. What about it? Because author have mentioned here, what? Eat other food instead. It means that he believes that by using other foods you can fulfill your deficit of this key nutrient. If you means if I say if you are not able to fulfill your nutrient consumption by these other sources, will people curtail their quinoa consumption? No, not at all. It means that at least you are able to curtail the need of nutrients. It means that you are able means the you if you rely on different food sources that contain nutrients that quinoa contains, and in exact same concentration, not less, in exact same concentration, it means you can rely on this idea. If I say they do not contain the exact same concentration, then people might or might not move to the idea. Okay, let's keep this choice and we will compare it with the different idea. The commercial farming method used for farming quinoa are more detrimental to the environment than are methods used for farming the other food. All right. Now this is a good choice because it states me that this farming method used for farming, they are more detrimental. They are more harmful to the environment than methods used for farming other food crops. But think about it. Am I talking about other food crops? More detrimental to environment than the method used for farming other food crops. Yes, I am talking about other food crops. Which are the other food crops? Which author I mentioned? You should eat other food instead. It means commercial farming methods used for farming are more detrimental. They are more harmful than they more harmful to the environment than the method used for farming other foods. Now think about it. If growing these other foods would be more harmful than this commercial farming method used for quinoa consumption, quinoa production, will author ever say that switch to the different foods? No, not at all. If it is more detrimental, it will cause more harm to the environment. It means that this has to be true. It means this choice is better than above choice. It says that there are other food that contain nutrients that contains in the exact same concentration. First of all, after negation, I can say that they are not in exact same concentration. But not in exact same concentration does not mean less. It could be less and it could be more. And I have told you that assumption doesn't work on possibilities. It means that C could be better choice than B. We will talk about it. Let's move and check the other options. Quinoa farmers were better off before increasing demand for quinoa catalyzed to shift farming quinoa via modern commercial. It have introduced a new idea. Modern commercial farming. I am talking about commercial farming, not modern commercial farming. And farmers were better off before increasing the demand of quinoa. Alright, they were better off before increasing this, and they shift to farming quinoa via modern commercial methods. So you are saying that farmers were earlier better, but it does not give me a reason, or it does not tells me that therefore people concerned about the environment should curtail their quinoa consumption and eat other food. So this option choice do not impact. This option choice do not impact your argument structure, neither positively nor negatively. This is a simple argument. Okay, E. Quinoa would not be as popular as if more people were aware of the environmental effects of quinoa. It would not be as popular as if more people, but I know that it has become popular. We are already talking about the present state, and I know it has increasingly become popular. You are talking about the possibility that quinoa would not be as popular if more people were aware of the environmental effects. I don't know. I cannot say this to be the mandatory idea. All right. Uh, I see there is a freeze in video. I guess video has just stopped.